Left of the box. From T. Dot resident, who, if you're in Ontario and want to keep up to date with what's happening with Doug Ford, wonderful Twitter account to follow. The debt was around $300 billion when former party leader Tim Hudak posted this. Thanks to Doug Ford, the debt will soon be $450 billion. I have seen zero reporting from any media outlets on Ford's debt binge. Almost $500 billion. So formerly from Tim Hudak, and this is from 2016, just saying our crushing level of debt is the single greatest threat to Ontario's future prosperity. Over and over and over again, the Conservatives are like, the debt. Oh no, the Liberals, the NDP will put us into debt. And over and over and over again, it's the Conservatives that do it the most. And yet people still fall for it. I don't understand how people still fall for it with Conservatives. When they hear that the Conservatives are going to cut their taxes, but then they never do. In fact, taxes go up because the Conservatives will cut other programs forcing municipalities to raise taxes. But always they run on this. Like right now, it's the carbon tax that the federal Conservative Party is running on. Oh no, the carbon tax and stuff. But they're the most responsible ones for increasing deficits and debts and, not helping with taxes. It's just, I don't get how people continuously fall for this. So from Robert Benzie, breaking, the ink is red and the Tories are blue. Amid a rapidly slowing economy, Finance Minister P. Benthel has tabled a record $214 billion budget with $9.8 billion deficit for 2024 to 25, a staggering $10 billion swing from the $200 million surplus he projected last March. And from Colin DeMello, in case you missed it, after years of griping about Liberal spending, the Ford government tabled a tax and spent budget deficit larger than Kathleen Wynne's in 2018. Here's how the 2024 budget shaped up, and let's listen to this.
For the second largest government in Canada, there are signs of trouble ahead. The Ford government tabled its 2024 budget, a $214 billion spending plan, one that comes with continuing concern.
We're not immune from global forces slowing down our economy. These higher interest rates, high inflation are having their impact.
The impact of a projected slowdown is immediate. Instead of balancing the books like the government hoped 1 year ago, the province will post a whopping $9.8 billion deficit, a trend that continues until 2026, when the province is expected to reach balance just before the next election.
That's not going to happen. It's always that promise just before the next election. Again, that whole carrot on a stick thing. Trying to convince people that this was the plan all along, but I guarantee you this was not the plan. Or it was the plan. It's just not the plan that they promised the people, but it was the plan the Conservative government always wanted. But this isn't going to happen. Not with everything that Doug Ford has cut, because there's all these things where he's cut. So it sounds good on paper, like we no longer have to be charged to renew our license and things of that sort. But that was revenue to the province that's gone. He's privatizing things that used to bring money to the government. Again, that's revenue that's gone. And so then he does all this and then he makes all these cuts and stuff. And yeah, it's just an absolute mess.
So we had a choice to make. We could pass on cost to taxpayers, but we're not going to do that.
Oh, they absolutely did that.
Despite turbulent times, the budget has billions in new spending. The province will spend $500 million to help 600,000 people gain access to primary care health teams, which are seen as key to reducing the burden on emergency rooms. Another $700 million for healthcare staffing, including training, accreditation, and nursing programs. And $120 million for additional treatment beds, mobile mental health clinics, and crisis response teams.
Now that might sound good, but we're going to pause that video right there because context matters. Those sound like big numbers. But they neglected to mention this. Breaking. The Ford government tables a record spending budget with a deficit ballooning to $9.8 billion. There are no new affordability measures beyond what's been announced. Healthcare spending is growing 1.3 below inflation. There is money for infrastructure and highway and for helicopters, blah, blah, blah. There's no tax hikes. Yeah, there's $46 million for police helicopters for Toronto and Durham. For highways, money for that. So those healthcare numbers sound big and sound good, but it's actually below inflation. So in other words, that's a healthcare spending cut that's happening that Global News neglected to mention in this little video.
And $2 billion for home care.
A big chunk of this money is going to supporting the wages and recruiting and retaining more healthcare workers so they can take care of people where they want to be taken care of.
From healthcare to housing, another key priority for the Ford government. This budget will allow municipalities across the province to levy a vacant home tax, a power that was only given to Toronto, Ottawa, and Hamilton so far. And the province is painting a somewhat rosy picture of new housing construction, projecting 274,000 new housing starts over the next 3 years. That seems...
They're not saying what kind of housing they're building, though. Because if you're building homes that are unaffordable, it's not going to help the housing crisis. And sometimes what they define as a home can sometimes be a long-term care bed. These numbers and projections, they're always very misleading. That's why I like to see the results. You know, I won't believe it until the homes are built and they're affordable. And that's not what the Conservative government will do.
Seems like a lot, but it falls short of the province's own goal of 350,000 housing starts over the same period.